from throwing deep with their coverage. How intent were you guys today on imposing your will and making sure you could get the deep passing game going, and how do you think it worked?
Yeah, I think we had a great game plan from the coaches, and I think they put us in position to take those shots down the field. And it all starts up front with the offensive line. They did a great job protecting, and receivers made some great plays down the field. So I think it all clicked. But we're not where we want to be as an offense yet. We're still growing and developing each and every day.
Go over to the left, Stefan.
I don't know if you were listening when Coach Tate was talking there, but he was talking about the upsets in college football, the kind of consistency and the buy-in from the team, and having the same approach every game. Why do you think this roster, this group of guys, has bought into that the way that they have?
I think you see the upsets around college football, and our practices every day are intense. We're playing against the best defense in the country, and I think the competition out there is just so intense that it brings out the competitive spirit in everyone. The juice and everything. And the coaches harp on us. That like Coach Day said, once what does he say? Once you think you got it, you're about to get it. So I think you really you don't want to say I've got it. You want to keep developing and getting better.
Over here to the right, Stephen Means.
Julian, kind of to that point, your first month as a starter here comes to an end. It feels like they kind of brought you along gradually, week in and week out. What's the most important lesson you learned during your first month as a starting quarterback here?
Yeah, I think there's so many lessons learned throughout just how to play the position and how to take care of the football in certain situations. And I think I'm still developing in a lot of areas, but I think the growth from the past month has been good, but we're still getting better.
Over to the left to Cameron T. Robinson.
Julian, we've heard from other quarterbacks in the past, Will, CJ, just how hard Ryan is on quarterbacks and the excellence he demands. I'm curious what that's like for you to go through on a day-to-day basis and how that makes you better and consistent on a weekly basis.
Yeah, he coaches the position really well. In practice, he's very tough on us, and he wants to bring the best out of us. So, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's definitely very intense for the quarterback, and it makes your job a little bit easier on Saturdays because you have that pressure in Tuesday and Wednesday. You're playing the game throughout the week. You're visualizing the game. You're playing the game. You're visualizing playing against the best defense in the country. And I mean, you've got Caleb down and Sonny Styles and Coach Patricia over there. So I think I think the competition in practice and the intensity that Coach Day brings is what helps the quarterback.
We'll go over here to the right to Dylan Davis and then to Tim May.
Julian, your deep ball looks fantastic this year. Obviously, you've hit on a lot of good ones. Obviously, there's a ton of work that goes into that throughout the week, but is that something that's almost like it's a natural talent to be able to throw the ball like that and drop it like you do, or is that just purely a product of working on it? And have you always had that ability, I guess, even going back to high school?
Yeah, I think, we focus a lot on it as a quarterback room and as an offense. Coach Day, we've talked about it a lot, throughout the summer and throughout the spring. We practice those a lot, and we kind of have a marker where we want to leave it. And, the receivers do a great job of kind of holding their line and then making the play. The offensive line does a great job blocking. So I think it's, all a collection of just the work we put in, in the off season and the summer.
Go to Tim May, and then we'll wrap it up with Patrick Murphy.
Yeah, following up on that, Junior, you seem to have a pop on your fastball tonight, too. I mean, the way you were very assured throwing some of those passes and stuff. Is this as comfortable as you felt yet being the starter in terms of just where the ball is going and who's catching it?
Yeah, I think every week, just getting more comfortable as an offense, as a group, and then, just individually. And, just seeing things and processing it and, seeing my guys kind of make that break and anticipating the window.
Did you decide it would be Carnell Tate day today? I mean,
yeah, I mean the plays got designed up, and he was making some great plays, and the offensive line did a great job. Jeremiah had some great catches and had that touchdown catch, two catches actually, 2 touchdowns. So I think it was just a collection of a lot of good things from the offense, but we still have a lot of work to do.
And we'll wrap it up with Patrick Murphy.
Julian, you've talked a few times about what it takes to get those big plays. It's not just your throw, it's not just receiver, the line and everything. What's it like when that all comes together in the moment as you're throwing the ball? Just what is that feeling of, hey, this thing we worked on worked?
Yeah, it was awesome. The first one down to Carnell, we were kind of backed up. We threw the go ball, and I think it landed kind of like on the 30-yard line or something. We had a pressure from the backside, and the running back made a nice adjustment because we were in a play fake, and he ended up picking up the backside safety on the pressure. And I think it was just awesome to see that kind of happening, and then Carnell making a great catch, the off the line blocking well, and I think it was just awesome to kind of see it all come together in that moment.
All right, Julian, thank you.
Thank you.